The silent vanguard. The transmission came through broken and desperate, cutting across 30 light-years of space like a wounded animal's cry. Admiral Helena Chen's face was ashen as she watched the footage for the third time in the dim light of the war room. They've taken the Arcturus colony. All 20,000 souls. Gone. She passed a trembling hand over her face, just like Europa Station and New Horizon before it. The other 5 members of Earth's Joint Defense Council sat in stunned silence as the footage continued. The Caldari ships, massive obsidian structures that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, methodically reduced the colony's defenses to rubble before landing their harvest ships. 3 months, General Williams muttered. 3 months since first contact, and we've lost every engagement. Nearly 250,000 dead or taken. His fist came down hard on the polished table. And we still don't know what they want with our people. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood at rigid attention in the shadows behind the council. She wasn't supposed to be in this meeting, but Admiral Chen had insisted. Maya's presence had raised eyebrows. A mere ship captain among the highest-ranking military officials on Earth, but no one dared question Chen's judgment. Not now. Not with extinction looming. The Caldari ships are heading toward the Sol system. Admiral Chen continued. Conventional forces have failed. Every direct engagement has ended in defeat. Our best weapons barely scratch their hull plating. Chen's eyes found Maya's, which is why we're activating Project Phantom. The council members exchanged uneasy glances. Project Phantom was classified beyond top secret, a desperate gamble born of desperate times. Captain Rodriguez, Chen said, your ship is ready. Maya stepped forward. At 35, she was young for her rank, with dark eyes that missed nothing and a reputation for doing the impossible. The VSS Wraith is prepared for immediate deployment. Admiral. General Williams scoffed. 1 ship. Against their armada. Not to fight, Chen corrected. To observe. To learn. She activated a holographic display showing a sleek vessel unlike any in Earth's fleet. The Wraith is equipped with our most advanced stealth technology. Metamaterial cloaking, zero-emission propulsion, and thermal dampening systems. A ghost ship, Maya added, designed to get closer to the Caldari than we've ever managed before. We need intelligence if we're going to survive this. The mission parameters were clear. Infiltrate Caldari space, observe their fleet movements, and, if possible, discover why they were abducting humans rather than simply annihilating them. The Wraith would carry a crew of just 12, the smallest number needed to operate the complex vessel. This is a reconnaissance mission only, Chen emphasized. You are not to engage the enemy under any circumstances. Maya nodded, though something in her eyes made the Admiral pause. I mean it, Captain. We can't afford to lose the Wraith. Or you. 20 hours later, the VSS Wraith slipped from its hidden lunar dock and accelerated soundlessly toward the outer system. From the command chair, Maya watched Earth recede, a fragile blue marble housing the last 8 billion humans in existence. Stealth systems nominal, reported Lieutenant Sato, her XO. No indication of Caldari scout vessels within detection range. Set course for the Kuiper Belt, Maya ordered. We'll use Eris as our jumping-off point. The Wraith moved like its namesake, silent and unseen. Its revolutionary propulsion system left no ion trail, no radiation signature, nothing for Caldari sensors to detect. Or so they hoped. 3 days later, they intercepted their first Caldari transmission. It's encoded, but I'm running it through the algorithms we developed from previous intercepts. Communications Officer Park said, fingers dancing across his console, rough translation coming through. The alien language filled the bridge, clicking, sibilant sounds that made Maya's skin crawl even in translated form. Human specimens. Genetic compatibility. Primary harvest complete. Secondary targets identified. Park looked up, face pale. Captain, they're discussing Earth. The main fleet is gathering for what they're calling the final harvest. Maya's grip tightened on her armrest. time frame. Difficult to say with translation issues, but less than 2 weeks. 2 weeks until 8 billion people faced the same fate as the outer colonies. Maya had seen the footage. Humans herded into massive transport ships, many already unconscious, the rest screaming as the Keldari moved among them with clinical efficiency. Plot an intercept course with their communication relay, Maya ordered. We need more intel. Captain, Sato objected. Our orders are to gather intelligence, Maya finished. That's exactly what we're doing. The Wraith edged closer to the Keldari network, a vast web of communication relays stretching through the Kuiper Belt, placed there months before the aliens had announced their presence. They had been watching humanity for far longer than anyone had suspected. I'm detecting unusual energy readings, Science Officer Chen reported. It's similar to the signature we recorded during the Europa Station attack, but more concentrated. Maya studied the readings. Can we get visual? The main view screen shifted to show a massive Keldari vessel unlike the others. Where their warships were angular and threatening, this one was almost organic in appearance, bulbous sections pulsing with an internal blue-green light. It's a research vessel, Maya realized. They're studying something, or someone. The decision crystallized in her mind. If they could infiltrate that ship, they might discover why the Keldari were taking humans instead of simply destroying them. That knowledge could be the key to humanity's survival. Prepare the stealth shuttle, Maya ordered. Lieutenant Sato, you have the con. If we're not back in 6 hours, return to Earth with whatever intel we've gathered. Sato's protests died against Maya's determined expression. She knew her captain well enough to recognize when argument was futile. The stealth shuttle detached from the Wraith with minimal thrust, its 4 occupants, Maya, Security Chief Kovacs, Science Officer Chen, and Medical Officer Diaz, sealed in adaptive infiltration suits. The craft drifted toward the research vessel, using the Keldari's own communication signals to mask their approach. No detection indicators, Chen whispered, though there was no need for silence in the vacuum-sealed shuttle. Their security is focused outward, not inward. Overconfidence, Maya replied. Let's use it. They docked at an external maintenance port, the infiltration suits automatically adjusting their surface properties to mimic Keldari technology. The alien ship's atmospheric composition was breathable, but uncomfortably rich in sulfur compounds. Life signs, Maya asked as they moved through dimly lit corridors. Chen consulted her scanner. Concentrated in 3 areas. The largest concentration is below us. Hundreds of signatures, but they're unusual. Human, Diaz asked. Not exactly. The patterns are altered somehow. They moved deeper into the vessel, avoiding the occasional Keldari technician. Towering, insectoid creatures with 4 manipulator limbs and chitinous exoskeletons that reflected blue-green light. The ship's interior was humid and warm, filled with a sickly sweet odor that made Maya's eyes water despite her suit's filtration. This way, Chen whispered, indicating a spiral ramp leading downward. The chamber below froze the blood in Maya's veins. Row upon row of transparent pods lined the walls, each containing a human body, or what had once been human. The subjects were undergoing grotesque transformations, their skin mottled with patches of chitinous material, limbs elongating, internal organs visibly shifting beneath translucent flesh. There, converting them, Diaz breathed, medical scanner wearing, genetic recombination on a cellular level. Maya fought down bile rising in her throat. Why? What could they possibly gain from this? Their species is dying, came a voice from behind them. They whirled to find themselves surrounded by Keldari guards, weapons trained on their position. The speaker was larger than the others, with elaborate markings on its exoskeleton, some kind of officer. Your genetic adaptability is unique, the Keldari continued in eerily perfect English. Your species can survive environments that would kill most carbon-based life. We require this trait. Maya's hand inched toward her sidearm. So you're what? Harvesting our DNA. Turning us into you. Not quite. The Caldari officer chittered, mandibles flexing in what might have been amusement. We are improving you. Your bodies resist the process. But once complete, the hybrids will have your adaptability and our strength. A perfect synthesis. And those who don't survive the process, Maya demanded, are unfortunate but necessary sacrifices. Lay down your weapons. Your genetic material is too valuable to waste. Maya met the alien's compound eyes. I don't think so. What happened next occurred in a blur of motion. Kovacs launched a flashbang from his wrist launcher, temporarily blinding the Caldari with their light-sensitive eyes. Maya and her team scattered, firing precise shots at the vessel's internal systems rather than the heavily armored Caldari themselves. Back to the shuttle, Maya shouted, providing covering fire as her team retreated. They almost made it. The shuttle was in sight when a Caldari energy weapon caught Maya in the back, sending her sprawling. Her last conscious thought was of Earth. 8 billion people who would never know how close their salvation had come. She awoke strapped to an examination table, her infiltration suit removed, surrounded by clicking, chittering Caldari scientists. Her team was nowhere in sight. Your companions escaped, the Caldari officer from earlier informed her, looming over the table. Unfortunate, but one specimen is better than none. You will provide valuable data. Maya struggled against her restraints. Go to hell. A curious expression, the alien mused. Your species has such fascinating linguistic constructs for expressing defiance in the face of inevitability. It gestured to a scientist holding what looked disturbingly like a bone saw. We begin with tissue samples. As the instrument descended toward her exposed arm, Maya noticed something strange, a faint tremor running through the ship, causing the Caldari to glance at each other in what appeared to be concern. What is happening? The officer demanded, moving to a communication panel. The answer came in the form of an explosion that rocked the entire chamber. The lights flickered, emergency alarms began wailing in alien tones, and the restraints holding Maya suddenly went slack. Through the chaos, she heard a familiar voice. Captain, we need to move. Lieutenant Seto appeared through a haze of smoke, firing precisely at the Caldari scientists. Behind her came the rest of the Wraith's crew, armed and determined. I thought I ordered you back to Earth. Maya gasped as Seto helped her to her feet. You did, Seto confirmed, handing Maya a weapon. I decided it was a stupid order. They fought their way back to the shuttle, Maya increasingly aware that the Caldari were surprisingly vulnerable to certain frequencies of their own weapons, a weakness she filed away for future reference. As they approached the shuttle, Maya paused at a data terminal. Cover me, she ordered, connecting her infiltration suit's remaining systems to the alien interface. I need 30 seconds. We don't have 30 seconds, Kovacs shouted, firing down the corridor at approaching Caldari reinforcements. 29, 28. Maya counted, downloading everything she could from the alien database. The data streamed into her suit's storage. Biological profiles, fleet movements, and most critically, the true purpose of the harvest. The shuttle detached from the research vessel with seconds to spare, streaking back toward the waiting Wraith. Behind them, the Caldari vessel began powering weapon systems. They're locking on, Chen warned. Doesn't matter, Maya replied, clutching the data module from her suit. We have what we came for. As the Wraith prepared for emergency FTL jump back to Earth, Maya studied the initial analysis of the Caldari data. What she found sent ice through her veins. The aliens weren't simply creating hybrids, they were creating replacements. Their species was facing extinction from a genetic degradation caused by millennia of engineered uniformity. They needed humanity's genetic diversity, not just our adaptability. And they intended to replace all 8 billion humans within the month. Set course for Earth, Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the pain of her injuries. Maximum speed. We have less time than we thought. Humanity's reckoning. The Wraith limped into Earth orbit 17 days later, its stealth systems compromised, hull breached in multiple sectors, and half its crew dead or dying. They had outrun Keldari pursuit vessels through 3 star systems, taking heavy damage in the process. Captain Maya Rodriguez was barely conscious when they carried her into the Joint Defense Council chamber. Her body was a tapestry of injuries, plasma burns across her torso, neural damage from Keldari interrogation devices, and a strange mottling on her left arm, where alien genetic material had briefly bonded with her tissues before Dr. Dias had managed to neutralize it. Admiral Chen rushed to her side. "God, Maya, what happened out there?" Maya's cracked lips formed a pained smile. "Got your intelligence, Admiral." She pressed a data crystal into Chen's hand. "And a way to fight back." The data the Wraith had stolen revealed the Keldari's greatest secret and their greatest weakness: their genetic uniformity. The very problem they sought to solve by harvesting humanity made them catastrophically vulnerable to targeted biological agents. Their immune systems had no variation, no adaptability. "They're all essentially identical," Maya explained, her voice stronger after medical treatment. "Clones of clones, with only minor variations between castes. We've mapped their entire genome." Dr. Nakamura, Earth's leading xenobiologist, looked up from his analysis. "She's right. This is incredible. Their genetic structure is so uniform that a targeted pathogen would affect their entire species simultaneously. No natural immunity, no genetic outliers to survive and rebuild. A biological weapon," General Williams said, eyes gleaming. "We could wipe them out in one strike." Maya shook her head. "Not a weapon. A barrier. Something that makes humans toxic to them without killing the Keldari outright. Their ships are already en route to Earth. We have days, not weeks. We need something that will make the harvesting process impossible." The Council debated frantically while Earth's best scientific minds worked around the clock. The solution, when it came, was elegant in its simplicity: a modified retrovirus that would temporarily alter human cellular structures to produce compounds lethal to Keldari biology upon contact or ingestion. It wouldn't harm humans, but would make any attempt to harvest or process human genetic material immediately fatal to the aliens. "Global distribution is the challenge," Dr. Nakamura explained. "We need to inoculate as many people as possible before the Keldari arrive. Use the weather control systems," Maya suggested from her hospital bed, where she was recovering from emergency surgery. "Disperse it through the atmosphere, water supplies, everything." Admiral Chen nodded grimly. "And what about those who can't be reached in time?" Maya's eyes hardened. "We fight. We make them pay for every human they take." 3 days later, the Keldari fleet arrived. 50 massive harvester ships and hundreds of smaller vessels, positioning themselves around Earth in a net of gleaming obsidian. Their first transmission was brief: "Surrender or be taken by force." Earth's response was equally concise: "Come and try." The battle for Earth began in the upper atmosphere, Earth's combined military forces launching everything they had against the alien fleet. It was a hopeless fight. Humanity's weapons were largely ineffective against Keldari technology, but the defenders weren't trying to win through firepower. They only needed to delay the ground invasion long enough for the retrovirus to reach critical distribution levels. Maya watched from the command center beneath Geneva, her body still healing, but her mind sharp. The tactical displays showed Keldari landing ships breaking through the defensive line, touching down on all continents. 78% global coverage, Dr. Nakamura reported. "We need at least 90 for statistical certainty." "We're out of time," Maya replied, watching as Keldari harvest teams began moving through population centers. "Deploy the reserve forces." The scenes that followed would be etched into human history forever. The Keldari moved through cities with clinical efficiency, using neural disruptors to incapacitate humans for collection. But when they began processing the first batches of captives, the effects of the retrovirus became immediately apparent. Keldari processors collapsed in convulsions as their systems reacted violently to the modified human cellular structure. The effect cascaded through their ranks, harvest teams falling into disarray as their carefully orchestrated collection process became lethal to the collectors. "It's working," Chen breathed, watching the tactical feeds. "They're pulling back." Maya leaned forward, studying the Keldari fleet movements. "Not retreating. Regrouping. They'll switch to extermination protocols now." Her eyes met Chen's. "We've made ourselves poisonous to them. They can't use us anymore. So they'll try to sterilize the planet." "The orbital defense grid isn't ready," General Williams said. "We're still months away from completion." Maya straightened. Decision made. "The Wraith. It's damaged, but the core systems are functional. I need a volunteer crew." Chen gripped her arm. "What are you planning?" "The data we stole included their command ship's security protocols. We can get aboard. Deploy the retrovirus directly into their life support systems. Make their ships uninhabitable." "That's a suicide mission," Chen argued. Maya's smile was grim. "Only if we fail." Hours later, the repaired Wraith ghosted through the Keldari fleet, its compromised stealth systems bolstered by the fact that the aliens were focused on Earth, not expecting an attack from within their own perimeter. Maya commanded from the bridge, her injuries bound and treated, but far from healed. "Their command vessel," she indicated on the tactical display. "Twice the size of the others. That's our target." The Wraith docked with a massive ship, mimicking a returning scout vessel. Maya led the boarding party herself, moving through alien corridors with the confidence of someone who had studied the enemy's playbook. "Environmental control is 3 levels up," she whispered to her team. "Stay tight, stay quiet." They encountered resistance. It was inevitable. But the Keldari were confounded by humans who fought with the desperate strength of those protecting their home. Maya took a glancing blow from an energy weapon, the plasma burning through her armor and into the already damaged tissue beneath. But she pressed on. The environmental control chamber was vast, a cathedral to alien engineering, pulsing with blue-green light. Maya's team secured the entrance while she and Dr. Diaz approached the central console. "How much time do you need?" Maya asked, weapon trained on the door. 5 minutes to override their safeguards, another 3 to introduce the retrovirus into the circulation system. Diaz replied, already working. "You have 4, Maya said, hearing the approaching sound of Keldari security forces. The battle that ensued was brief and vicious. Maya and her security team held the entrance, using the knowledge gleaned from their previous encounter to target vulnerable points in Keldari physiology. But they were outnumbered, outgunned, and fighting on enemy territory. One by one, Maya's team fell. A plasma bolt caught Kovacs in the chest, vaporizing his heart instantly. Chen was swarmed by Keldari warriors, disappearing beneath a mass of chidnous limbs. Maya herself took multiple wounds, each one slowing her reflexes further. "Done," Diaz shouted from the console. "Retrovirus deployed." Maya fired her last shot, taking down a Keldari officer, then staggered back toward Diaz. "Get to the extraction point. I'll hold them here." "Captain." "That's an order, Doctor," Maya said firmly. "Earth needs to know this worked." As Diaz reluctantly retreated, Maya positioned herself at the narrowest point of the chamber entrance, her weapon set to overload. The approaching Keldari slowed, recognizing the threat. "Your species is finished," Maya told them, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. "You tried to harvest us because we adapt. You should have learned from that. Humanity doesn't break. We evolve." She triggered the overload as the Keldari rushed her position. The explosion rocked the entire command vessel, breaching multiple decks and causing cascade failures throughout the ship's systems. By the time Diaz reached the Wraith, the retrovirus had spread through the Keldari command vessel's air circulation, and alarms were sounding throughout the alien fleet. The Wraith detached from the dying command ship, slipping away as the Keldari fleet fell into disarray. Without centralized command, With their flagship contaminated and their leadership in chaos, the harvest operation collapsed. Ships began retreating, some firing on their own contaminated vessels in a desperate attempt to contain the spread. From her hospital bed a week later, Maya watched the last Caldari ships fleeing the solar system. Earth had survived, battered, scared, but unbroken. Millions had died in the brief conflict, but billions had been saved. Admiral Chen sat beside her, reading from a tablet. The Caldari sent a final transmission before leaving the system. Our linguists just finished the translation. What did it say? Maya asked, her voice weak but determined. Chen looked up, a hint of grim satisfaction in her eyes. We will return when you are worthy prey. Maya's laugh turned into a painful cough. They still don't understand. We were never prey. She gazed out the window at the blue sky above. A sky that remained human because humanity had refused to surrender. We were the predators all along. They just didn't know it yet. In the months that followed, Earth rebuilt. The knowledge gained from Caldari technology accelerated human development by decades. Defense systems were strengthened, colonies restored, and a new fleet constructed, ships designed to take the fight to the enemy if they ever returned. And at the heart of this new armada was the VSS Vengeance, a vessel built from the remnants of the Wraith, commanded by the newly promoted Admiral Maya Rodriguez. Her body bore the scars of humanity's closest brush with extinction, but her eyes looked forward, to the stars where humanity would forge its future. The Caldari had come to harvest humans, seeing only resources to be collected. They had left understanding what it truly meant to awaken humanity's wrath. They would not make the same mistake twice. Neither would humanity.